The story begins with our protagonist, a gamer known as Animal Mask, who is preparing for the final fight to become the world champion. His dream is to open a pet shop and surround himself with animals, as he loves them dearly. However, during his match against his rival, Mao, something extraordinary happens. As he jumps from the ropes, he begins to emit a dazzling light and is suddenly transported to another world. In this new world, he encounters Princess Altina, who requests his help in defeating the Demon King and the demonic beasts terrorizing the cities. Our protagonist, however, becomes upset when he learns that he is being asked to harm animals. In a moment of misunderstanding, he grabs the princess around the waist, but instead of anything inappropriate, he executes a German suplex, unintentionally exposing her buttocks. And so, the adventure of Hadage and the adorable Michi begins. After escaping from the castle, our protagonist finds himself in a town where he is mistaken for a pervert due to his unique attire. He finds solace in a corner with his faithful dog, Hiroyuki. However, some men with beast-like appearances consider stealing Hiroyuki to sell him. To their surprise, our protagonist embraces them instead, leaving the poor wolf traumatized. While pursuing a cat girl, he hears a girl's scream. She was about to be sold as a slave, but our protagonist hesitates to intervene. However, when he realizes that the girl is a wolf girl, he immediately executes a suplex on the seller. It turns out that these three individuals become partners in an unexpected turn of events. The wolf girl, named Shigeru, expresses her gratitude for being saved. Shigeru, desperate to start a business, begs our protagonist for a loan without interest, promising to repay it. Otherwise, she would be sold as a slave. Overwhelmed with emotion, Shigeru cries in our protagonist's shop until he agrees to help her, despite his own financial struggles caused by the failure of his own business. With the goal of earning money, our protagonist heads to the guild, where he discusses his animal skills with the guild master. Suddenly, some individuals report the presence of dangerous monsters called Severe in the city. Our protagonist decides to confront these three-headed dogs and ends up having an amusing encounter with them. He manages to subdue their leader in a rather dubious manner. Back at the guild, our protagonist expresses his desire for harmony between humans and beasts, an idea that gains support from the guild master. Joined by a friendly giant ant named Jeeg, our protagonist explains his plan to open a pet store and tame demonic beasts to sell them to people. He is thrilled by the idea of being surrounded by animals and is determined to find a suitable place to house them. The first step, however, is to secure a means of income. In the meantime, his reputation grows as a demonic beast slayer after defeating the severe creatures. Anyone who dares to call him that soon finds themselves sent flying. As part of his mission to defeat a salamander, our protagonist encounters a renowned adventurer named Heat Haze, who offers his assistance. However, when Genzo realizes that he intends to face the salamander himself, he dismisses him, keeping his valuable sword. During his mission to defeat the salamander, our protagonist unexpectedly befriends it and claims it as his pet, collecting the reward. He continues on this path, accumulating numerous animals for his future store. However, the challenge of finding a suitable shelter for all these beasts remains unresolved. So, our protagonist takes on a mission to defeat orcs who have been stealing crops. They head to the orcs' lair, and Genzo becomes agitated, demanding to see their leader. The orc king appears, and since Genzo can't resolve things peacefully, he kicks the king, leading to an intense fight. In the end, Genzo emerges victorious with a suplex. After settling things, Genzo gains the orcs' respect. Having collected the reward, Genzo purchases a property and takes out a loan to maintain his business. While repairing the barn, he discovers a half-dragon girl whom Hiroyuki had found. She wakes up and introduces herself as a dragon girl named Hanako. She has a voracious appetite and eats incredibly fast. Despite her peculiarities, Genzo welcomes her into his home. When Genzo and the group embark on a new mission, they learn that a demonic beast has been attacking people, leaving a distinct bite mark. Genzo suspects it's a dragon, as they have an insatiable appetite. The guild master seeks Genzo's help, dubbing him a beast killer. Genzo sets a trap with food to lure the dragon, wearing his animal mask as a disguise. To his surprise, Hanako falls into the trap and starts eating. While Genzo talks to her, other adventurers appear and mistake his intentions towards the girl. Genzo and Hanako escape the scene. Later, a vampire named Camilla appears, seeking to kill Genzo for being with Hanako. However, Genzo proves to be a formidable opponent. They manage to make it back home, where Hanako reveals that she is a member of the Fafnir family, one of the 4 families serving the Demon King. Genzo also learns that Camilla has arrived in the city to retrieve Hanako. Hanako expresses her dissatisfaction with the monster meat she receives at home and her desire to leave the family. She asks Genzo for help and offers to assist him in his pet shop in exchange for food and shelter rather than payment. Genzo accepts her offer, and Hanako becomes a part of their team. It was not the cute creature who was biting people, but it was actually Camilla. When Genzo discovered this, he promptly did a suplex on her. The next day, Camilla ended up staying with our protagonist, and Genzo had to continue dealing with the challenges of his daily life. He struggled with his low-paying job, supporting an eccentric individual, and being asked for money for trivial matters. On top of that, the deadline for his loan payment was approaching, adding to his financial stress. To overcome their financial difficulties, everyone had to work together to earn money, but Camilla refused to participate. This led Genzo to forcefully persuade her to contribute. Every time they worked, Camilla's involvement would lead to disastrous outcomes. She refused to help with expenses, neglected her responsibilities, and even expressed a desire to harm animals. The situation escalated when she refused to walk the dog and caused further trouble. During their work shifts, Genzo played games with animals, Hanako participated in eating contests for prizes, and Camilla worked at night but only pocketed the money without fulfilling her duties. As a result, they accumulated more debts, compounding their financial troubles. They decided to take on their most dangerous mission yet, facing some griffins. Along the way, Genzo discovered the cruel practice of pitting griffin young against each other, where only the winner is raised and the loser is abandoned and left to die. Witnessing the young griffins fighting, Genzo intervened to save the loser. However, this enraged the griffins, who subsequently captured Camilla due to her lacking animal traits, failure to pay rent, and general irresponsibility. In the end, they managed to escape. They buried Camilla in impure soil to aid her quick recovery, but the griffin they saved ended up growing larger, resulting in increased expenses for their pet shop. Faced with financial strain due to their incomplete mission, Genzo and Shigeru managed by selling luxury swords stolen by the man who had previously ground Genzo. Meanwhile, when Shigeru forced Genzo to work, leaving his pets alone, a beastly individual sought revenge by attempting to steal Hiroyuki to sell him for a fortune. However, the wolf became attached to Hiroyuki and a giant ant appeared on the scene. Naturally, when Genzo discovered this betrayal, he went to the culprit's house to confront and potentially fight him. In the midst of these events, a vampire named Joanna Score, belonging to one of the 4 families serving the Demon King, devised a plan to summon a king from another world to kill the hero that the princess, Altina, had summoned. This plan led to the invocation of Mao, Genzo's rival from the final battle. Mao was commissioned to defeat the hero, and upon seeing who the hero was, he readily agreed to fight him, as Genzo had disappeared and Mao no longer had any intention of fighting anyone else since he had never defeated Genzo. Johanna was always annoyed by Camilla's cuteness, as she had been defeated countless times by someone who only knew how to swallow things. Determined to discover the secret of Camilla's strength, Johanna watched her closely. On one occasion, when Hanako attended a banquet, Johanna tried to challenge her but was not even remembered. This led Johanna to criticize Camilla, stating that she was unworthy of serving her as a low-ranking vampire. Johanna offered to send Camilla a servant of equal rank to keep her company and discover the secret of her strength. Although tempted, Camilla ultimately rejected the offer. However, Johanna was persistent and foolishly challenged Camilla to a fight against her servant, Rose. The stipulation was that if Camilla lost, Hanako would have to change servants. Reluctantly, Camilla accepted the challenge, wanting to be left alone so she could go and swallow things. The vampire duel commenced at night, with Camilla gradually losing ground. Even when Camilla was on the ground, Johanna refused to let her part with Hanako, determined not to lose. Eventually, Hanako intervened and stopped the fight. As a result, Rose emerged as the victor. Camilla pleaded with Hanako not to change her, but as she had lost the bet, she would have to bow down to Rose. Hanako humiliated herself by bowing without hesitation. Johanna was satisfied with the outcome, but as Hanako belonged to a family that served the Demon King, it bothered her to let the humiliation go unanswered. Therefore, she had no choice but to transform into a dragon to exact revenge on both Camilla and Hanako. Genzo ended up slapping Camilla for messing up on a mission once again. Days later, a girl named Seals arrived, claiming to be searching for the demonic beast hunter. Genzo, not letting anyone call him that, cleared things up with her. The girl simply wanted to request Genzo's guidance and training. In return, she offered to pay him, even if it meant with her body. However, Genzo was not attracted to girls without tremendous fur, so he was not interested. However, when Genzo noticed that she was half lizardman, he changed his mind and decided to train her. The other girls also joined in the training but ended up getting in the way. Eventually, the training was completed, and the girl explained her reason for seeking training. She was tired of being mistreated by the guild due to her being a half lizardman. This angered Genzo, and they decided to confront the guild. The guild members were upset because every time they caught a masked person, he would escape with the beasts. However, when Genzo spoke kindly to the guild master, the situation was resolved, and the guild members apologized, explaining their frustration. Although they were forgiven, Genzo was still unsatisfied. This led to a fight to fix things, and in the end, they won by applying a suplex. Genzo made them apologize once again, even though he was partly to blame for the situation. When they returned home, they encountered Klaus, the bank representative. Seeing the fight they had just won, Klaus proposed organizing entertainment fights where people would pay to watch. They could also sell food and merchandise during the events. Our group ended up accepting Klaus's proposal. After making the preparations for the fight and gathering several fighters to participate, Genzo spent time training them, except for Camilla, who remained lazy. Genzo also opened a merchandise stand, which seemed to be going well. When the event started, it turned out to be a great success, with people enjoying the fights between the fighters. When it was Genzo's turn, he was paired with Camilla, his worst possible partner. Despite that, they were still winning their matches. However, things took a turn when a werewolf arrived and, at the request of the public, he was allowed to enter the ring. The werewolves team did not win, but Genzo thoroughly enjoyed the fight. After the event, everyone celebrated the success of the fights and the profits they had made. They were all happy until the bills arrived, which included expenses for Genzo's ruined training sessions and Camilla's excessive consumption of food and alcohol. The next day, Genzo wanted Camilla to take Hiroyuki for a walk, but she refused, and he ended up applying his morning lock on her. It was clear that Hiroyuki was a unique creature in this world, and if Genzo sold both Hiroyuki and Camilla, he would earn much more for Hiroyuki. Thus, he referred to Hiroyuki as Hiroyuki-sama. When Camilla returned from her walk with Hiroyuki, Princess Altina appeared. She was still angry with Genzo, and due to the nickname Princess Buttocks given to her by the people in the castle, she took the matter quite calmly. She wanted to ask Genzo for help to defeat the Demon King. However, when Genzo recognized her, he applied a suplex to her once again. To make matters worse, the whole village saw the princess's buttocks. Despite the incident, Princess Altina understood that Genzo was a good person and asked for his help again. When Camilla discovered that Genzo was the hero, she had a discussion with Princess Altina. Although Camilla didn't know how cute she served the Demon King, she still supported Genzo's decision not to help the princess. The princess was desperate because she couldn't summon another hero and the current one could return to his world or die. In her despair, she opened the door for her soldiers. After giving the best knights of the kingdom a tremendous beating, Genzo ends up applying a leg lock to Princess Altina, once again showing her poor buttocks. Despite the repeated suplexes and locks, the princess daily begged for Genzo's help. She came to inform him that a demon king from another world had been summoned and was attacking the orcs. However, Genzo was more concerned about taking Hiroyuki for a walk. To his surprise, the guys from the village had taken Hiroyuki and sold him to a nobleman for a large sum of money. They tried to convince the nobleman to return Hiroyuki, but he refused, claiming he was not to blame for the theft. The nobleman demanded an absurd amount of money to return Hiroyuki. However, with the help of the nobleman's daughter and Shigeru's savings, they managed to retrieve Hiroyuki. When they discovered that the usual guys were responsible for the theft, they confronted them and taught them a lesson. Upon their return home, Mao and Joanna were waiting for them and challenged Genzo and Hanako to a fight. Klaus then appears and proposes a tournament for them to participate in and earn money. While training at night, Camilla asks Genzo to train her since she would be facing Rose in the tournament. Seeing her motivation, Genzo accepts. However, at dawn, Camilla fails to start the training, which earns her a scolding from Genzo. Eventually, Genzo and Klaus make preparations, and Genzo recruits members from adventurers to thieves to form a group to fight against Mao's group. Princess Altina offers her help to face the Demon King from another world and participates in the combat. Once everything is ready, the tournament of 5 confrontations begins. In the first match, Princess Altina and the guy with the swords face off against Mao's beasts. The aerial confrontation ends with the princess falling, seemingly enjoying the humiliation. However, Genzo's group ultimately wins. In the second match, the ogre boss and the hairy one face more beasts and emerge victorious. The third match is between the thieves and 2 huge monsters, and unfortunately, they lose. The fourth match is between Camilla and Rose. Initially, Rose appears to have the upper hand, but thanks to training with Genzo, Camilla manages to turn the tables and seemingly secure victory. However, Camilla forgets that she needs to be on top of Rose for the referee to count to 3. Rose recovers and defeats Camilla, resulting in a tie between Genzo's group and Mao's group. Despite Camilla's defeat in the fight, Hanako congratulated her on her effort, leading to a mix of humiliation and happiness for Camilla. In the final match, Genzo faced off against Mao, their opponent. Unlike their usual strategy, Genzo remained calm and engaged in an evenly matched fight. Mao criticized Genzo for supposedly running away from the battle, but Genzo clarified that he was summoned from another world and didn't escape. At one point, Mao managed to knock down Genzo, but it was then revealed that Mao had a fear of animals, despite training to overcome it. The girls took advantage of this and snuck away to take Hiroyuki, Genzo's pet dog. Genzo, noticing their actions, became determined and pursued them. Chaos ensued as the thieves also got involved, resulting in destruction and chaos in the arena. After the commotion settled, Genzo and Mao returned to the ring, where Genzo performed a suplex, ultimately winning the fight and securing victory for his team. As a reward, they received a prize that would help Genzo open his store. However, Joanna, who had no choice but to retire, informed Genzo that he would only receive a bill for the damages caused and the expenses incurred by Camilla and Hanako. Finally, Genzo bid farewell to Mao, who decided to train and pursue a professional fighting career. The anime ends with the group receiving their next mission. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more anime videos.